All right, guys, Anthony Moore, Pike Properties, good morning to you. Anytime you see this little guy here, it's a caribou coffee with a turtle mocha inside. That means we're celebrating a victory. I'm here with my best friend and business partner, Matt, and we're celebrating our purchase of a property yesterday. Guys, that's when we make our money, when we buy. Not necessarily when we sell, but when we buy. And there's one other factor. It's functionality of a home. So that's why we're at this renovation over here in Darwin Circle. I'm going to show you some of the functionality items that we're working on. So let's take a look at the backyard real quick. So one thing that we had to overcome here was a really janky carport. And this thing was terrible. I mean, it was held up by twigs. So we had to figure out how the heck can we make this thing functional, or do we just get rid of it? So we had some decisions to make. And one of the decisions was pretty easy. Matt and I both hated it. So we wanted to get rid of it. The reality is it was right over here, and it basically ate up the entire backyard. What the heck are we going to do with that? Who wants to pull in here, sit out on their patio, and stare at their carport all day long, especially a janky one at that? So what we decided to do was get rid of it and rip up all of the concrete here to make a nice flat backyard. And in addition to that, actually keep the carport, just move it. So we're going to actually build a new one over here. So for about $8,000 or so, we're going to be able to build a two-car carport, and I'm absolutely going to get that money back. Now, maybe not on appraisal, I don't know, that's to be determined, but the reality is that's going to help us sell this property so much quicker. So I'm going to let Matt tackle the inside so you can see some of the other functionality items in there.
Hey guys, Matt here, and welcome to the inside of this project. And Anthony is exactly right. You have to make these houses functional, not only look great, but function well. And we all know that houses built in the 60s and 70s and 50s, a lot of them weren't functional for how people live today. So let me give you a quick tour of the upstairs. There's actually a surprise, and this house has a basement that we're fully redoing too. So I'm going to walk through that as well. So let's start upstairs and give you an idea. Not a whole lot happened in the living room, right? This is a pretty basic living room, and honestly we didn't need to change a whole lot. So what we did though is, you can see from the old footprint here in the floor where the hardwoods are not, this used to have a full wall with a little small sort of doorway here, even though there wasn't a door. So now we've totally opened this up. We're going to debate on decorating it with a little bit of an arch, but I really like it because it just opens up the space a lot. And so what we did also is this. Upstairs is going to be the master, even though you have an option for the master downstairs if you want a little bigger room. You'll see that in a minute. But what we did up here is this is going to be your master bedroom, all right? So with that, this was already your master bathroom. The only issue was it was freaking tiny. It was so small, and we knew if we wanted to sell it for what we need to make a couple dollars on the house, this needed to be bigger. So here's what we did. Anthony and I looked at this as we do every house. Guys, this is a great tip for you as well. Take somebody with you, whether it's your spouse, your business partner, your friend, whoever. Walk a house with them and just have somebody to bounce ideas off, because you'll get a better product by talking through things instead of, sometimes we can see tunnel vision. So I love when Anthony and I go through a house to figure out what it's going to be. So in here, we ended up expanding this so the depth of it is a little bit longer, because now I can fit two vanities, right? So I've got a dual vanity in here because it's a master. Even though it's small, I'm getting a dual vanity, right? This, where I'm standing in front of, is basically the shower, right? Where before, I only had a small sink and the shower ended about here, right? Now I've added this, but I only ate into, with the hallway that you're in right now. It's no big deal. I also had to make it wider, so we're about 18 inches wider than the original bathroom, right? So now I feel, it's not humongous. This is not what you would get in a 4,000 square foot house that's new construction, but for this style of house, the era, this is going to be just fine, okay? One thing I want to point out to you too, little things like this matter, at least to me, because I'm picky and anal about stuff. There's something called a Studer vent in plumbing, all right? So let me give you a little tutorial, some construction knowledge now. What happens is plumbing needs airflow from the top so that it doesn't do what, if you take a 2-liter bottle of soda, flip it upside down, you know how it goes glug, 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 glug. But if you poke a hole in the top of that can or bottle or whatever, it flows like crazy. That's what this does, okay? It lets airflow in, but I'm particular. I don't like a Studer vent is not one that gets vented to the outside. This is the proper way to do it. Goes all the way up to the roof, and it's just a vent where the air can come in, and your plumbing works perfectly that way. So there's that, okay? Now, so not a whole lot to see in the master bedroom. It's a bedroom. It's got floors, it's got walls. We're gonna paint them, it's gonna look good, okay? Full bath up here. So we're gonna have an office there / guest room. So we've got our full in here. So again, not a whole lot changing in there. We gutted it. It's gonna look pretty when it's done. You know, that is what it is. Now, here's where some other big things need to change in a house. I mean, everybody knows kitchen baths sell a house, but not only that, the flow, as Anthony talked about, how much open space you have. So this had basically a small little doorway right here and a full wall here. Now we're going to open this up as we've done in pretty much every house that we do. We will have cabinetry along here, right? Then we're going to have our sink base will be here, stove, microwave above it, and the refrigerator right here. It's going to be spectacular, right? Now you've got a nice open floor plan, and people are going to want to entertain and cook and just generally enjoy this space because of how open it is, right? Sometimes you get a little treat in a house, and you know, things that we probably wouldn't build because we wouldn't get our money back, but if we have it and we can make it better, that's what we do with a space like this. So Anthony and I kind of went back and forth on this. What do we do with this thing? And it's going to be a sunroom. It was an old porch that was really, it wasn't done right, but they closed it in, and it was a little shabby, it was a little ghetto, and so it needed just to be spruced up. So we put a bunch of windows in here to bring in some natural light. Yeah, check them out. So we did 3 sets of twin windows in here to let a bunch of light in, and I envisioned people sitting in here, a couple of chairs, enjoying their coffee in the morning and just relaxing. Just as kind of an extra space that, again, you wouldn't build, but you have it, so why not, right? All right. We always like to put in French doors anytime we can. So we're going to have French doors going out onto the deck and that amazing backyard that Anthony just showed you guys, right? This one, this is good. I got to tell you all about this. Anthony, he's a pain in the ass on some stuff. Sometimes he's like, put his foot down. We have to have this, and this is it. We have to figure it out. And then I'll go in, I'll go, dude, we can't fit it. I can't do it. It doesn't work. I don't know. And he's like, figure out a way. He's like, I'll be here. Well, let's do this together. And so this damn laundry was his freaking thing. He goes, I have to have a laundry on the main floor. It can't go in the basement. When I bought my house, that was an issue. So I said, fine. And so there's our laundry. All right? So we've got our laundry upstairs that Anthony is now happy about, and we don't have to argue about it, even though we did for a little bit. But now everybody's happy. And at the end of the day, it's the right call. But sometimes what's easy isn't the right thing to do. This is a perfect example. It wasn't easy. It took us probably 45 minutes to figure out where the hell to put the thing. Could we fit it? But it worked out at the end of the day. And he's right. It's going to help us sell this house because now you have a laundry on the same level as your master, okay? So there's your story on the laundry. Now let's check out the dungeon, all right? Right now it's a little dark down here. You should have seen it before. When we bought this house, many times what we'll do for the seller is to make their life easy, we'll say, hey, if you have any stuff, aka junk, in your house, you can leave it. Because it's expensive for somebody to line up a dumpster and a trash out company, all those other things, where it's not for us because we have those resources. This was a great example. It took our trash out guy, I want to say 3 or 4 days to get all the stuff out of here, right? But he didn't charge us because there was half of it was actually decent stuff. Some of it was garbage, but half of it was okay, and he sold it. So it's a win-win where some of that stuff gets recycled. You know, it put us behind 4 days, but I don't look at it that way. That might have been one reason we got the house, because we offered to get all this stuff out of here, okay? So we reframed this. It's always been semi-finished, but we finished it the right way. Let me tell you guys, one of the big things you want to do is your house is your reputation. It is your resume, right? Do it right. This is a great example, okay? Some people would have probably gotten away with not doing this, but we couldn't feel good about doing it if we didn't finish this house and do it the right way. Obviously, basements have a notorious issue of leaking, right? And this one was no exception. It leaked, all right? So what we did is we paid significant money to have somebody come in and basically waterproof the basement. So what happens is this. Water, if it ever does come through the block foundation behind this white sort of vinyl whatever the hell it is. I don't know what it is. I just know it's done right, okay? It hits this, and it's a waterproof membrane, essentially, goes down, and in here, around the entire perimeter of the foundation, they dug into it, right? And they laid a French drain. So any water comes down, hits that, and flows over to, you can't see it because it's awful dark over there, a sump pump. So that way, there's never going to be any water intrusion coming into the living space. So that's just a way for Anthony and I to feel good about the products we provide. And by the way, we're going to tell them about this when we sell this house so that that becomes a selling feature in addition to being something functional, okay? Down here, this is going to be a monster house, which I love. It's going to have a full bath down here. Most people wouldn't do that because you've got to do something kind of different. In fact, we've never done it. I know the application, but we've never physically done it. Let me show you this. This is cool. The issue with being in a basement when it comes to a bathroom is you're below grade. Plumbing and any water that flows through your toilet and your drains needs to have gravity that will remove it and have it flow down the pipe. Well, if you're below grade, there is nothing to remove that water. It has to go up to get out of the house, right? So what we did was this. Basically, you can see the trough that they dug out in here, right? This is the vanity, right? Anytime you see a waste line like this and two water lines next to it, that is being prepped for your vanity, okay? This is the commode. No, we are not going to have it 2 feet off the floor, all right? It's just temporarily that way. It will be back down where it's supposed to, all right? Over here is the shower. So we reframed all of this. You know, this is this is where you make your money. Anthony and I came through here. We brought our contractor. We all figured out how can we lay out this space to get the most effective use of the space. Now, come back. You come in here and see if you can see this. So what you've got to do when you want to get plumbing to flow uphill, which doesn't normally happen, you have to put a pump in. So that's what this is. So they dug down through the slab into the ground below it. And this pump, essentially the water, the drainage from your toilet, your sink, your shower, flows into this, through this pump, and up into the drain from the house. Now, that allows you, is it cheap? No, but at the end of the day, you got to think of the return you'll get from a bathroom in a basement. We will have a 1, 2, 3, 4 bedroom, 1, 2, 3 bath. A 4 bedroom, 3 bath is huge for us. It's going to help us on appraisal, and it's going to bring in a different buyer that needs that space. It's worth it to spend this money to get it back at the end of the day. It's going to make it easier for Anthony to sell the house, all right? So, I've probably talked too much, and Anthony's already looking at me like, yeah, you've talked too much. But I like sharing this stuff, and we haven't done a video for an awful long time, so we'll do this again soon, and I appreciate you guys' time. We'll see you next time.